Hi, I'm Bridget and thank you so much for joining me for this practice today where we are going to work on opening up through heart space. We're going to work through the upper back, through the arms, and this is really great for working towards back bends. And I would say back bends are probably, they're my nemesis. I have always sort of really struggled with back bends. I know through the legs and other parts of the body, I find that I can build flexibility really quite easily, but I really need to work to find more opening through the upper back and in back bends. So these are some of my favorite stretches when I'm working towards that, so I hope that you enjoy them. We're just going to get started on the knees. I've got my toes tucked under because I like to bring a little bit of a stretch into the soles of the feet as well. So that's how we're going to start. You can also untuck the toes, or you could start, you could come into standing. So just bringing the feet together in standing. I am going to tuck the toes under, sink the hips back down on the heels. For this practice, all you will need is a thingy of some sort. I don't know where any of my yoga straps are at the moment, so I've just pulled this off a coat. If you've got a dressing gown or a belt or anything that you can sort of pull on and it won't stretch, that will work perfectly. So what we're going to do to get started is just wrap our hands around your version of your strap, whatever that may be. Whatever item you can find, we're going to wrap the hands around it. And we're just going to start with some shoulder flossing. So inhale, we're going to bring the hands up and overhead. Exhale, we draw them down. Inhale, we bring them back up and over. Exhale, we bring the hands back down. So you might need to adjust where your hands are on your strap a little bit. If you started a little bit too close and you can't get the hands to slip back down, take the hands a little bit wider. If you still can't get the arms down, then you might need to bring a tiny little bend into the elbows or adjust to bring one hand down and then the other. So whatever variation works for you, if you feel like you need the hands a little closer, then again, you can just adjust as you need to. And while we're here, we're going to be very aware of the shoulders. So see if you can sort of keep them drawing down as you come back. Feel that nice stretch as you bring the hands down behind you. If you're quite tight through the shoulders, the front of the shoulders and the chest, then you'll really feel this when you drop the hands back behind you. You might like to work into that space a little bit here. Otherwise, just moving with the breath. So exhale to drop the hands. Inhale, we lift them up. We're just going to move back and forth with the breath here. Nemesis is kind of a funny word. I don't think I've ever used that word before. I should have said. Anyway. So just keep the arms moving here. Once you're starting to feel like you're opening up through the shoulders a little bit more, you might like to bring the hands a little bit closer together. Keep them moving. If you've got those toes tucked under and it starts to become uncomfortable, just untuck them or try this in standing. I also notice every time I do this, when I start to work into those places that are really just don't have a lot of movement, I can feel my face twitching. So it's fine for now, but if I keep going, just like here, I'll start to twitch. Maybe that's just me though. So if you're still working through this flossing, you will start to notice a little bit of heat building through the shoulders. I can feel a little bit of heat building through my shoulders here. We'll take 3 more rounds of breath. So up, exhale back down, inhale to come up, exhale back down, and 1 more. Exhaling the hands back down. If your hands are still behind you when you finish there, do 1 more breath so that you can bring the hands back to the front. Now that you've used your little strap, you can put that away because we won't need that anymore, but that is a really great stretch to come back to. Even if I'm not going to do a full yoga practice, I really like to do that one, especially if I've been sitting for a long time throughout the day. That's a really, really good one. So from here, we're just going to make our way to a comfortable seat. I'm going to bring the legs back in front of me and just cross the ankles. We're going to come into a couple more stretches through the arms. So I'm going to inhale my right arm up, exhale, bring the right hand to the back of my neck. So I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see this a little bit better. Rather than having this arm forward, we're going to see if we can keep it back in line, sort of so that we're all in one piece. We don't want this coming forward, we want to flatten it out with the rest of our body. I'm then going to take the left hand and press that right elbow down so that the right hand starts to reach down the spine. Seeing if you can keep that nice length through the spine here as well. So rather than sort of leaning the head forward, we're going to keep it nice and in line with the spine. As we stretch here, staying with the breath. Seeing if you can open up through heart space a little bit, so draw the shoulders, squeeze them together, draw the elbows back. We'll take one more breath. And then bring the arms back down, maybe take a couple of rolls of the shoulders. And then we'll take it to the other side. You might notice that this right arm feels a little different from the left after we've stretched it out on that side. This time we'll inhale the left hand up, drop the left hand behind the back of the neck. Again, check where that left elbow is, try and get it in line with the body. I'll bring the right hand up and then press it down the spine. Again, seeing if you can find that space through heart space, a little bit of space through the neck, so pressing the head back. Find the breath. Taking one more nice deep breath here. And then we will unravel, bringing the arms back down. We're going to make our way into a broken wing pose in just a moment, but we're just going to stretch through the lower arms a little bit first. So what we're going to do is make two fists with our hands. Bring the knuckles together in front of your chest and then press your hands away from your body. Keeping the knuckles touching here, you should start to feel a really nice stretch along here. Breathing into it, you might like to close down the eyes, maybe find a little bit of movement, bringing the hands back in towards you, pressing them away a little bit more. And then we'll draw them back in towards us and make our way into our broken wing. So we're going to come down onto the belly. This is another one of my favorites that I like to incorporate into my practice, just so that I'm getting a little bit of movement through my upper spine, through the shoulders. So I'm going to take my left arm first because it's going to be a little bit easier to see on this side. And you can either bring the arm, that left arm out straight, or whichever arm you're starting with. Bring that arm out straight. I'm then going to roll onto the left side of my body. I'm going to bend the right knee and just step it behind that left leg for a little bit of support. I've got my right hand in front of me, also for support, or if you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, you can also just reach that right arm up and behind you, just resting it down at the lower back. Seeing if you can draw the shoulders together here, so we really want to draw that right shoulder back as well. If you'd like to take this a little bit deeper, instead of sending the arm out straight, you might like to bring it into a 90-degree angle and then roll back onto the left side of the body again here. Pressing that right shoulder back down towards the left shoulder, so really squeezing them together. take one more breath here. And then come back to center. And we'll take it to the other side. So I'm going to send my right arm out to the side. I'm going to bring it into that 90-degree angle because I find that gives me a deeper stretch, but just whatever works for you here. So either out straight or in that 90-degree angle. I'm going to roll onto the right side of my body this time. Step that left foot back behind the right leg. And then I've got my left hand in front of me for support, or again, you can take that variation, just bringing the left hand behind you. Drawing the shoulders together. Really pressing that right arm down into the earth. You should start to feel a really nice stretch here. Maybe closing down the eyes. And then slowly coming back onto the belly and pressing up into a tabletop. We're going to take our puppy pose from here. So once you've found your tabletop, we've got the shoulders stacking above the wrists. Noticing where your palms are when you're in your tabletop, we're just going to drop the elbows down to where the palms were, seeing if you can keep the forearms parallel. You can adjust them as you need to as we make our way into our puppy pose. I'm just going to start to walk the knees back and start to melt my heart space down towards the mat. If this feels uncomfortable through the shoulders, you might like to take the hands a little bit wider. Bringing the forehead to rest on your mat. You find the breath again here. Inhale, feeling the body expand. And exhale, melting that heart space down towards your mat a little bit further. Squeezing the shoulders together here. Just enjoying this moment of stillness. Sending the breath to the shoulders, the upper spine, the chest. And then from here we're going to transition into our sphinx pose. So pressing into all 10 fingerprints, all 10 knuckles, pressing into the elbows, we're going to start to shift the body forward. And then just realigning the arms when you get there, so bringing the elbows back underneath the shoulders, pressing the hips down into your mat, pressing into the tops of the feet. We almost lift the knees away from the mat as we start to grow tall through the spine. Again, drop the shoulders away from the ears and squeeze them together behind you. Again, you can close down the eyes. I like to imagine when I'm in this pose that a rope has been wrapped around the top back of my spine and then pulling my chest forward. Nice and long through the neck. And then exhaling, bringing the chest back down to the mat. And we're going to roll over, make our way onto the back. So while you're down here, we're going to come into our banana pose, a little bit of a side body stretch, a little bit of a full body stretch. So we're going to reach the hands up and over. I'm going to walk my feet over to the bottom right corner of my mat, shift my body over to the left side of the mat, and then bring the hands and the head and the arms over to the top right corner of the mat. So we're almost in a banana shape, a moon shape. If you would like to make this a little bit deeper, then you can cross a left foot over the right. And then you might like to take the left wrist with the right hand and then pull it over to the right with you. Maybe closing down the eyes. Breathing into this stretch. And take one more breath here. And then unravel the legs, unravel the arms. We'll make our way back to center and then take it to the other side. So we'll walk the feet over to the bottom left corner of our mat. Shift the body over to the right side of our mat. And then bring the head, the shoulders, the arms and the hands over to the top left corner of the mat. So hands are reaching up above the head. You might like to take hold of that right wrist with the left hand this time and pull it over to the left with you. And then if you'd like to take it deeper again, you can cross that the right foot over the left. Again, find the breath here. Inhaling, feeling the body expand. Exhale, getting really heavy. And we'll take one more breath here. And then unraveling, making our way back to center. If you would like to build onto this practice a little bit more, or maybe try out a posture with a back bend, then feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're going to make our way into our Savasana. So we put the legs out long. I'm going to bring the hands beside me, palms facing up, closing down the eyes here, letting the body start to relax. Letting the breath return to normal. Feeling yourself get really heavy, sinking down into your mat. Soaking up all that goodness from your practice. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more open through the heart space, through the shoulders and the upper back. And if you would like to stay in your Shavasana for a little while longer, you can just pause the video here. Otherwise, we'll wiggle the fingers and the toes. Start to rock the head side to side. And we'll start to bend the knees and roll onto one side. Gently making your way up into a nice comfortable seated position. Going to come back to the center of my mat. Getting really nice and tall through the spine when you get there, just letting the palms rest on the knees. You can keep the eyes closed or just lower the gaze. And we'll take one nice deep breath together to close our practice. So inhale, the hands up and overhead, bringing the palms together. Exhale, we draw the hands down towards the heart and bow through the head and the neck. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.